4 years ago, I lost my home in the Marshall Fire here in Colorado. And my very first call that I got was from Pat Jones, of anyone. I mean, my parents, obviously, but like it was within hours of losing my home, and his name comes up. I'm like, hi. He's like, how are you? We're here. What can we do for you? And I mean, Women in Tolling, they created this pool and sent me and my kids on a little summer trip to Great Wolf Lodge that summer. And like, people were sending clothes, and the board was reaching out, and it was just, one of the most challenging times in my life. And IBTTA was like one of the first to just step up and say, how can we help?
This episode is brought to you by CSG. CSG's SaaS solutions optimize every step of the tolling journey, from billing and payments to customer engagement, helping agencies maximize revenue through smarter, more integrated experiences. Make more, save more, and do more. Visit csgi.com.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Toll Talk. I'm one of your hosts, Kaylee Jakovics.
And I'm Alex Ficari.
And today we have a very special guest, Jessica Carson, who is the Senior Transportation Consultant with GFT, as well as one of the chief meeting organizers for IBTTA's 93rd annual meeting and exhibition. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here and very excited to talk about the conference and GFT and all the exciting things we have going on.
Yeah, we're so excited to hear about it. I mean, you have, I think, 17 years in transportation. Is that right?
Yes, going on 18. I stumbled into tolling, as most people did, back in 2007 when I didn't like my desk job and wanted something different, and found the ad. I believe it was Craigslist at the time, and had never been on the toll road in Denver. And so my interview was the first time, and pretty soon I got a call from Dave Christick, and was very excited to take on a new career path. And here I am today.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
That's fantastic.
You always just kind of fall into tolling, as we hear. So it's exciting and to see your success.
Yeah. So now you're from the Denver area, correct?
Correct. Yes.
All right. Now, I've spent a lot of time in Denver. I think it's a magnificent place. Back in the younger days, I used to go skiing out there, and I stayed actually during the Y2K consulting period of my life. And so I'd spent a lot of time, and I spent like a month and a half out there. And I have family out there as well. So love Denver. Denver's a great place. And now, so you live in Denver, but are you from Denver?
No.
Okay.
I landed there. It's kind of like my halfway midpoint. I grew up in Iowa and went to University of Iowa for undergrad. And then after undergrad, moved to Los Angeles, because why not go to a big city when you grew up in a small town? And I wanted to write screenplays. Oh. And apparently that's not an easy profession to get into. So I tried it out for a couple of years. I did write a screenplay, but it didn't go anywhere. So you have not seen it. So don't ask where to find it. And I didn't want to give up and go back to Iowa. So I landed in Denver and went to photography school to kind of expand on that creative background and passion. And that was in 2003. And I've been here ever since. So over 22 years now.
Wow.
And love it.
Well, I'd say that, from especially the photography, a passion for photography, I mean, there's no better place than really to the scenic views of Colorado, for that matter. I mean, holy cow.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
So, but you know what I love about this as well, Kaylee, here is another creative person,
Very true.
in transportation, like in tolling. Because we, again, same, I won't go to our path in that, but it is funny how, transportation, to Kaylee's point, just brings everybody into there with open arms.
Yeah.
So that's
Exactly.
great.
Yes.
But, all right.
All right. So you're now, before we kind of get into what's upcoming for IBTTA, I do want to hear a little bit about GFT. I know you have somewhat of a new role, but kind of tell us a little bit about what that entails. And for those that may not be familiar with GFT, we'd love to hear about that as well.
Absolutely. So GFT, as everyone's getting to know those three letters, it was formerly Gannett Fleming and merged with Trans Systems. So it was two great organizations Gannett Fleming was well established in the tolling industry, and Trans Systems was starting to become more up and coming in the tolling industry. And last year they did merge. And so now we're just over 5,000 people across the country. And I think it was such a smart and strategic merger because it really played on the strengths of both firms, both organizations, and was able to complete any gaps or any holes in the bench so that we can come to any project, any team, and be able to provide all the services. So I was happy to join actually after the merger. I came in hired through Trans Systems, but officially joined at the end of January of this year. So it was fun, and I loved the mission and the vision of the organization. One of the vision statements is choose excellence. And when I was at E470 for over 17 years, I would always start by telling people that for me, the E in E470 was excellence. And so I've always felt passionate about being part of an agency, an organization that really strives to do better and always looking for that next step and how to really be excellent. And so that really drew me to GFT. It was just both their passion for doing good and their passion for the people. They're very people centric, all about the customer, the relationships, the people that are on their team in their organization, trying to lift them up and build them up. So it felt like it really aligned with my core values, and I think it was a great move.
Yeah, I was going to say, just knowing you over the last couple years, it seems like you're perfectly aligned because you're very passionate about what you do, about tolling. So really excited for you to kind of make this shift. And what does it look like, I guess, day to day for your position for the senior transportation consultant? I'm curious on that.
Yes. And I mean, I guess the answer is very similar to how it would have been at my days at E470. Every day is different. Some days it's more putting on your strategic planning hat and thinking, okay, 2 years down the road or even 2 months down the road, where do we want Denver to be? Where do we want the Colorado sector to be? Where are some other areas that we need to explore or venture out? And then there's other days where, hey, we have this proposal that's due next week and we need an extra set of eyes, really dig in deep. And so then it's really getting into the weeds of actual projects and how to deliver on the projects. And so every day is totally different, which I absolutely love because it's never boring, always exciting. And I'm learning so much. I knew it was going to be quite a shift going from the agency side to the consulting world. And everyone tells you it's going to be so different and just hold on tight. And they were not lying. It's very different, but in such a fulfilling and fun way. I love just getting to bring my lens from the agency side to this side of it. I feel it helps benefit me approach proposals, approach strategic thinking. Just this is what I would have done as director of operations or director of public affairs. So this is what I would want to see reading a proposal. So I think it has helped prepare me for this, just having that background.
You're kind of at all angles or a 360-degree view there to say, hey, I've been on both sides now. So very exciting.
Exactly.
So as we're kind of saying, this, your background is very impressive, and it, thank you for kind of giving us, kind of an overview of there. But, it would really be helpful is like with all of that you've done, like what's been something you're most proud of? What's been that one accomplishment that just, you take great pride in and it's helped you so much?
Absolutely. I think back to my predecessor, Dave Christick. I mentioned how he hired me on back in 2007. Yep. He always pushed me to do more and try harder and get to that next step. And word of advice I always have for whenever a new employee would start or we have an intern, it was from a Disney or Pixar movie, Robots, and it was see a need, fill a need. And I
love that movie.
Followed that. Like if you see something that could be better, make it better. Don't complain about it. Just do something about it. And on that note, he always encouraged me to go back to school. And after undergrad, I said, I am never going back to school. I have no interest in studying more. But I did. I went back to Lead School of Business at CU Denver, at CU Boulder, and I did night schooling. And I had a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old at the time, and was working full time and commuting like 90 miles a day to work and then going to night school at night. It was so hard, but I got through it. And I will always remember my very first class. It was executive leadership. And I remember there were so many times where I felt like I was failing at being a mom or failing E470 because I was so focused on school. And she pulled up this Venn diagram that I still remember. And it just showed the three areas or the 3 circles. And it was friends and family, career, and self-help. And her big point was all those circles don't have to be even all the time. Like, give yourself some grace and let yourself expand one circle when you're in that phase of your life or that season of your life. When you have new kids or a new family, your family is going to get bigger. Let it get bigger. Let the career and maybe the self, maybe you're not going to make it to the gym, get smaller, and be okay with that. Don't be so hard on yourself. And then as they get older, maybe your career bubble gets a little bigger. And then once those balance, maybe you can get back to the gym and start focusing on that self and read that book you've been dying to read. So I think that was the biggest lesson when I was like feeling like I just couldn't go another day. It was, hey, give yourself some grace. Let that one get bigger. You didn't work out for 2 years. Okay, you graduated. Now do that. So that was just one of the biggest like life lessons. And I really commend E470 for giving me kind of that push and that nudge to do it and believing in me and supporting me when the career bubble maybe had to sacrifice a little bit while I was getting that MBA.
Wow. Well, I can say as somebody who, and I'm sure I've known Kaylee many, many years, we are always questioning, are we doing enough? Are we doing, and it all needs to be perfect all at the same time. And, you can get caught up in that pursuit to almost dare I say, insanity rather than, perfection over execution. And I loved what your professor said to you, one circle might be bigger, one segment of that focus might be bigger now than it is later or vice versa. That's huge for me.
Thank you for sharing that with our listeners, because it's refreshing to hear. Just because you want to do it all the time, and you don't want to sacrifice. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, and I guess also with that vast amount of experience, and I think with everything that you have going on, you also have a lot of exposure being a member of IBTTA as well. And I mean, I'm kind of curious because how long have you been a member of IBTTA now?
Well, I guess technically since I started E470 in 2007, but I really became involved when E470 hosted a conference back in 2009.
Okay.
And I was able to help with the host agency planning and the event. We hosted at the Broncos Stadium. And just meeting all these new people who I'd never met before, being part of this bigger association that was outside of just at the time, like 40 employees at E470. So just seeing all these people come together. And from that very first time, like meeting Wanda and Pat Jones and Cheryl and the IBTTA team, it felt like family from the very first moment. And I was like, oh, I like this. I want to be part of this. So from there on, I was like, okay, how do I get more involved? So it was, okay, I'll join this planning committee. Oh, okay, I'll do this. And so the very first time I was given the opportunity to present was 2011 in Jersey City. So it was my first time on a panel. And I was like, that was awesome. I was scared, totally scared, and really, really nervous leading up to it. But it was afterwards, I was like, oh my gosh, people want to hear more. And they actually learn something from what I shared. That's really neat. So just kind of getting it. And I think that helps you just to get to know the community better is when you are more active. Don't just sit back.
Absolutely.
Like become involved and ask questions and just do more. There's always help that is needed to make these conferences successful.
Well, it's funny. I like what you said, because those are 3 things that people need to keep in mind, like being active, and then, the other thing when you talk about being a member of IBTTA, as we've testified many times. I mean, it is definitely one of those things you do feel like family really quick. And I think Pat Jones and the entire team have created this wonderful legacy that's continuing this day with everybody. And Wanda's continuing on to, make people feel like family. So when you do get on that first panel and you are up there in the room, it's not so scary, right? You're like, okay, I recognize half the faces.
I mean,
in this
it is,
room.
but yeah.
Well, yeah, but you still want to have something on your nose.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think it. I just wanted to kind of reaffirm those 3 points that you had there because I think that's a phenomenal aspect. So you mentioned committees and people getting involved, and I would love to know because I'm always trying to get involved. Kaylee's definitely involved, but when you think about committees, tell me a little bit about the committees you've been a part of and then what it's been like contributing to them.
Sure. I have kind of a problem where I don't like to say no. So I have had the pleasure because of that problem being on quite a few committees. Obviously, for those just breaking into it, just joining one of the planning groups, one of the conference planning groups is one of the easy ways to at least get started and kind of dip your toe into the water. But then there's Women in Tolling, and the Council of Women in Tolling is just tremendous. I've been involved since the beginning, and it started just around a little table of women at a conference several years ago. They were like, hey, we need to connect more. We need to work together to lift each other up. And that grew into this amazing Women in Tolling Council. And right now I'm the treasurer on the council. So next year, secretary, and then work up to be chair. After chair. So very excited for that. And then I would say one of the most fulfilling committees, former or past president Mark Compton, he was going into his presidency in 2020 to be president in 2021 and asked me and Mark Muriello with IBTTA if we would co-chair his, at the time called Lost Revenue Task Force. And everyone, lost revenue, whether you're a consultant, a vendor, an agency, lost revenue is that dirty little word that no one likes to talk about, but it's a big issue.
Yeah.
So we quickly became one of the really sought out committees that folks wanted to join and learn from and be part of. And so I've been co-chair of that. And just this year, Mark Muriello stepped on to other IBTTA responsibilities, and Stacy Ritter with PTC joined me as co-chair. And we have amazing subcommittee chairs that keep all the efforts running. It's such a good committee to be part of. And last year when they decided to keep us around, we were told, well, you're more than a task force, so you get to be a committee now. So we were elevated to TRAC, which was Toll Revenue Assurance Committee. So
very good.
So in case lost revenue doesn't resonate with folks, we're now TRAC, Toll Revenue Assurance Committee. And we're always looking for new people to join, but I warn everyone, if you join, you're expected to roll up your sleeves and do some work because there are problems that still need to be solved.
That's great.
Excellent.
And then I guess adding on, sorry, I lost track. So cut that.
No, you're good.
Another committee that's been extremely rewarding, the Toll Excellence Awards Committee.
Okay.
So if you're looking for one to start, I've been on that for many, many years. And I guess sneak peek at the annual meeting, there will be the Toll Excellence Awards session on Tuesday morning. Make sure you go. There were so many good submissions for Toll Excellence this year. And it's going to be really exciting to see who got the President's Award. I know, but I can't tell you. But they're very well deserving, and all the award winners did. I've never read such an amazing amount of good submissions. So it was a really hard decision to make. But join that, or if you're an agency, submit. Put your name out there. If you have a cool project, you submit that because we want to hear about it, and other agencies want to learn from it. And then last but not least, I joined the board of directors for IBTTA back in 2019 and served a 4-year term. So that was really, really beneficial and really rewarding just to see it at the strategic level, see how decisions are made. And then I still serve on the membership and finance committee for the board.
Wow. So you've definitely taken the concept of getting involved to that. I'd say one of the most notable bios, if you will. Like you've really gone all in, and I'm assuming, and I think you'd affirm that it's been rewards more than you can probably count. and it's definitely helped you.
Absolutely. I think the biggest reward, and I didn't mention it as a committee, but Leadership Academy. And Kaylee, I gotta talk to you at when you were Leadership Academy 2025 grad. It was so fun meeting all the new students. But I did the 2012 Leadership Academy, and I'd say that was by far one of my biggest growth experiences in my career. Just meeting people at every level, every area of the business, both sides, agency, consultant, vendor. Just fascinating to get different perspectives and learn from everyone's different backgrounds and years of experience. I highly recommend it for anyone that hasn't done it.
That's fantastic. And so the plan is that I'm going to be applying for the Leadership Academy as well. So I'm really looking forward to attending. Kaylee, it was definitely one of those things where we thought Kaylee needed to go first. She just needed to, she is such an eager spirit in tolling just as much as I am, but she's definitely doing her thing. And so we were really happy and proud of her to have gone through that. And
it was such an amazing experience.
Yeah, she talks so much about it. I'm very upset that I didn't go. So I'll definitely go. We'll get her shot. We'll get her shot. But it kind of leads me to this thought about what IBTTA does for you personally with your growth, right? Could you maybe talk a little bit about, what the relationship's like and how it's been a value to you?
Absolutely. From the business standpoint, I'd say just the networking, the relationships. If I have a question on pretty much anything, I can think about someone I met at one conference or that I was in Leadership Academy with or on a panel with, and be able to reach out, and the connections you get through IBTTA are so real and authentic and meaningful, and everyone just is there to help each other and lift each other up, which is great. So I'd say just the connections is huge. And then on the personal note, I would say that it's more than an association. And I said it already, so risk of sounding like a broken record, it really is family. And I cite a personal story. 4 years ago, I lost my home in the Marshall Fire here in Colorado. And my very first call that I got was from Pat Jones. Of anyone. I mean, my parents, obviously, but like it was within hours of losing my home, and his name comes up. I'm like, hi. He's like, how are you? We're here. What can we do for you? And I mean, Women in Tolling, they created this pool and sent me and my kids on a little summer trip to Great Wolf Lodge that summer. And like people were sending clothes, and the board was reaching out, and it was just, one of the most challenging times in my life. And IBTTA was like one of the first to just step up and say, how can we help?
Yeah, I love that. They do great things and support definitely the community. But
and I think it just really, again, not to break, like you said, a broken record about the idea of family, and in a world with so many associations and so many options for people to invest their time in, to know that there's one out there that's given you and so many others so many intangible rewards, and I'm sure tangible ones at that. But in the end, it just really does. That's really affirming. So I think it's a really good thing that we're here talking about getting together again, right? As a group for this upcoming event, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
now a message from our sponsor.
The business of tolling is complex. Trusted by the world's most respected brands, CSG transforms every customer interaction, communications, billing, payments, and more into a smarter, more profitable outcome. Make more, save more, do more. CSG, solving tolling's toughest challenges simply.
Again, you're one of the chief meeting organizers. I know there's someone else if you want to mention them too, but
Yeah. Yes, IBTTA reached out and asked myself and Carlos Campo with HNTB to be co-CMOs for the annual conference. And we both had so much fun just looking at past events, talking to people, and learning from past events of what worked, what could be improved upon, and just really working and striving to make this the most memorable annual meeting ever.
Well, you're so involved, so I know for me, when I've gotten involved for each event, it just makes the event so much better because it's like, oh, I understand like the inner workings of what is happening and where all the events are and what the plan for the planning committee. So I guess what has your journey been so far, as the chief meeting organizer?
It's been so fun and challenging, and like there's been like ebbs and flows, and I think my problem is too, I was so excited for it that I was reaching out in January like, hey, when's our kickoff call, and hey, when can we do this, and they're like, Jess, we have 6 other conferences this year, so hold on, we will get to you. So having to be patient for when it was time to hit the gas pedal has been my biggest challenge. But no, it's been great. And working with IBTTA, Wanda and Aaron and the entire team, Kristen setting up all the calls, they've done such a great job. Just, I can't even imagine because I'm focused on this one conference and they have an entire calendar year of conferences and just going from one to the other. But they're just so organized and so responsive. So they've made my job, I think, easier, just having all the experience and knowing the answer to everything. And Kayla, you might know this. So I'm a affirmation card reader. That's my
Love
silliness
it.
thing. So I kind of figured you'd ask that question. So I had found this card that I wanted to share with the viewers. And this kind of epitomizes, is that a word? This is an epitome of my CMO experience. So it's one of my affirmation cards. It's this rhino jumping through a hula hoop. But on the card, it's a lady wearing a whole bunch of hats, and it's titled Flexibility. It says, when plans take a turn and I find my colleagues suddenly asking me to change what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with, or where, when, how it's being done, I accept the challenge and delight in proving how flexible I can be. I'll wear whatever hat you throw at me, and I'm not even a hat person. So I think just wearing a lot of hats. And when I was first asked to be CMO, I was still with E470. And since E470 was the host agency, they felt that it made sense. And then when I decided to change career paths, Wanda was gracious enough to allow me to still be the CMO. So it was actually really cool because I had already started planning and thinking about it from the agency, a host agency perspective. And then now looking at it from a platinum sponsor perspective, it's really allowed me to be like, okay, we need to be this for this audience or this member attending. We need to be this for this person attending. And this agency is going to expect to see this. So it's helped being able to have both sides of that to bring, I think, a more robust agenda and content to the conference.
So tell us a little bit about the agenda. Give us an overview. What can we expect? Technical tours, sessions, keynotes?
Absolutely. I made a few notes.
And any that you're particularly looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
It's all going to be great, but...
It is. It's going to be a great conference. If you haven't registered yet or we're still on the fence about going, you have time. Please join us. It's going to be a fantastic conference. I think there's a few exciting things. Obviously, the board meetings kick off on Friday. So if you're interested in hearing the board talk strategy and what's coming up, they've been working really hard on the strategic plan for the next 5 years. So if you want to be in those discussions, come early. But otherwise, things kick off on really Saturday with the foundation's pickleball event to raise money for the foundation. And then the Leadership Academy has an awards ceremony on that Saturday. We also have 3 amazing tech tours planned, which that's a lot. And obviously, you can only be in one place at once. So based on what you're most interested in, E470 is doing their Gateway to Growth tech tour on Sunday morning. And then CTIO and CDOT, they're hosting the I-70 Express Lanes tech tour. And then last, there's North by Northwest from the Northwest Parkway, and they're giving a tech tour of their facilities. So a lot to see. That kind of kicks things off Sunday morning, and then there'll be a sneak peek of the exhibit hall that day. And then I'm super excited for the first round of breakout sessions. They're starting Sunday afternoon. One I'm really close to, I was really looking at doing kind of a back to basics track during the planning. And Carlos and I really wanted to focus on the who in tolling, because we talk about all these cool technical advancements and innovation, and that's so important. But who is driving that?
Yes, there you go.
So Sunday afternoon we have the Who drives tolling, and it's from the Midwest to the mountains. So we'll have executive leadership from both the Illinois Tollway and E470, our host agency, just really talking about all the different people, all the different areas of the business and how they have to work together and trust each other and communicate. Because one, if you don't have that foundation of trust and communication, you can't implement all these cool innovations and new technologies. So I'm really excited for just that kind of back to basics session on who drives tolling. And then immediately after that, the women in tolling have their session, which is going to be fantastic. And that's immediately followed by the Women in Tolling Social, which we're really happy to have everyone come together. We have some fun little gifts to give out. And then GFT will be one of the sponsors for that event. So we're really excited just to, again, celebrate all the amazing women in tolling. And then the conference continues with the opening event. I was like,
You're like, and then it really kicks off again.
Yeah, but then it kicks off at the opening event Sunday night. And then at the kickoff.
It just keeps going.
So it really is back to back. There's so many great things. On Monday morning, current President James Hoffman, he's taking over a session as if the IBTTA president doesn't have enough to worry about or do. He's like, I'm going to take this session, I'm going to plan it and run it, and it's going to be great. And it is. So I can't really share any details because it's a surprise, but that's the first general session Monday morning. And he has
so many surprises in this one.
Yeah.
And then one other one I wanted to highlight, if for those that are familiar with Walter Fagerlin with HNTV, also known as Leonardo de Toll, he has adapted his persona from the future of Leonardo de Toll, and he will be making a presence Monday afternoon in the toll revenue assurance session that's happening. So you won't want to miss that. There's going to be some costumes, not just by him. So it's going to be fun and memorable.
Wow. Well, it's one of the things that was kept, the word memorable there, I think is going to be the most important one. I was going to ask you, like, what, as you were listing these out, which one's like the one you're most excited about? It's kind of, there's so much to be excited about, which I think as an attendee, a regular attendee, I mean, I'm definitely glad that, you guys have collaborated, and what you guys have pulled off here sounds really exciting. So, I mean, it's just right around the corner. So there's going to be a lot to talk about. I think a lot of people will be discussing this one for a while.
I hope so.
So I'm just kind of curious though, what's it been like, let me kind of rephrase this question. When you're putting together an event like this, you really are doing a lot of work. And so you really depend upon a lot of people, I would assume, not just, IBTT is not just doing this for you. Like, you're in there, as you said, rolling up your sleeves, doing the work. Who else has been part of this to kind of make this to come together? Because I know something this large probably takes a lot of participants.
It does. And at the beginning, the year before, there's always the call for people to become involved with conference planning. And then through that process, I mean, they're already started 2026. You choose which conference or which summit you feel most passionate about. Sure. So all those people that signed up to be on the conference planning committee have been instrumental in shaping and driving the direction of this conference. And then each one of the tracks that we're having needs a track lead, and they're on these calls and they're helping to shape each session. And you get all of these submissions in May or early summer, and there's hundreds to review. And when you put the call out, there's usually kind of a loose framework of it's gonna be a kind of like this, or this is what we're going for. And then you get all these things, and sometimes it makes you completely reshape it or think differently of how you want the session to be. So I think everyone that's part of the planning group, all the track leads, just rolling up their sleeves and looking at it and not being locked in on, okay, well, this is the track description, we have to stick with this. Like, really seeing where things come in. And one of the roundtables Sunday afternoon is all the roundtables and table talks on AI. And we were surprised at how many different AI submissions we received, and about all different topics, from the human side to the technical side to the revenue assurance side. And it was like, okay, well, we can't, how do we put this one with this one in a cohesive panel? So we're like, let's just do table talks because they're all fascinating. So we just created this entire session on 7-8 different table talks, where if you want to learn about HR and AI versus propensity to pay in AI, you go to whichever one you like. So I think just having a group of planners that could really not get too in, kind of see the big picture and what's going to make the most meaningful conference for its attendees.
Yeah. Well, I think that says, again, it goes back to the whole essence of family. You're not just getting one agenda, like you're literally getting a culmination of the entire transportation culture with insights and technical expertise and firsthand accounts that really create this awesome, I don't call it curriculum, but, agenda of different topics. So with that being said, I'm kind of curious, you've already done 2 of these essentially. Would you do it again? You're kind of getting in there. Just kind of curious what your thoughts are.
100%, I would do it again. It's such an honor for IBTTA to even think about you, to be capable and able to be the CMO for a conference, and to have that role for the annual conference is just multiplies that honor. So just grateful that they thought that Carlos and I could do this heavy lift and create a conference that hopefully everyone talks about for years to come. And absolutely, if they came to me again for any conference, I'd be like, I'm in 100%. Where do I start? Sign my name, sign me up.
I love it. I mean, hey, if anyone can help assist and plan, it's definitely you. So for members, non-members, how can they learn about the event, register for the event? Where do they go?
Just go to IBTTA's website, ibtta.org. If you click on the events, it's right there because it's coming up fast.
It is.
There's a register tab. There is a hotel tab. I know the hotel room block has closed, but there's tons of hotels in downtown Denver near the convention center. So if you haven't gotten a room, don't let that stop you. There's ways to get around that. So get registered. There's going to be a ton of people. A ton of exhibitors. The exhibit space sold out in record time. We actually had to rearrange the layout to expand the exhibit hall. So tons of stuff to see, tons of content to learn from. It's one you don't want to miss.
Yeah. And the event is October 10th. You can arrive early, right? By really the 11th through the 14th, I believe. So.
Yeah. And then that's the thing. So if you haven't attended, if you're watching, I think for everybody to know is if you haven't attended an event, it's all about the time you spend there. And as Pat Jones even said, it's not necessarily what's always happening in the events, in the conference rooms, but it's also what's happening in the hallways, right? And so getting there early, staying a little longer, doing whatever, I think those are also your golden opportunities to really maximize an event like this. So definitely don't worry about blocked, is a room available? Should I still go? Absolutely. You should
definitely go early. And have those conversations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just remember it's a marathon, not a sprint. Just be prepared. And yes, what Pat said outside the sessions is just as important as the content being discussed through the panels.
Absolutely.
So go to those exhibit hall breaks, go to the lunch, go to the breakfast. I know, especially if you're new, it's really easy to be like, I'm going to just sneak to my room. And then especially if it's going to be in the convention center, it's a little bit further. So if you make the trip back to your room, you might not come back for a session. So, there's so much. And even if there's a session you don't want to go, stay there, go to the exhibit hall. There's tons of hangout areas. There's going to be a women in tolling hangout area. And we're doing, I did want to note this, the Women in Tolling will be hosting Dress for Success Denver. So we're going to be collecting any accessories, handbags, jewelry, scarves to help donate to women entering the workforce in the Denver area. And so we'll have a collection. point for that at the hangout area in the exhibit hall. So please stick around and know that those conversations take place, because when you're in the sessions, you can't talk to each other. So just be prepared and maybe bring comfy shoes. If you're a lady that likes to wear heels, throw a pair of flats in your handbag, because it might come in handy.
Yes.
And yeah, just be ready for a long but very fulfilling few days.
And I wouldn't necessarily wear the flats, but I might bring a pair of tennis shoes this time. I'll tell you that right now. That's a big convention center. So
you're gonna bring flats.
Yeah,
so.
well, I could. So, but I think so. What's the big? Let's get the word out there, right? I assume stuff's going out on social media. How can we help spread the word and get more people in attendance?
I think social media you nailed it on the head. If there's any email marketing or e-blasts, forums, or if you have a company newsletter, put it out there. But LinkedIn is probably your best bet. If you see posts from any of the presenters or moderators, share, reshare, pass along, comment. But I think LinkedIn and just any email
or this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. Watch this podcast, share it, and tag it, and however you work best with social media.
Yeah. No, that's great.
We have just a couple minutes left, and I want to ask you, are there anything else you'd like to highlight about the event, or any key takeaways that you want to share with our audience today, whether it's about the event, GFT, or really anything?
Sure. I have one more affirmation card.
Yay. Okay, share it.
and it goes to the comment that we shared earlier on, just about how to become involved. And I know, again, broken record, but IBTTA is such a fantastic association. But if you really want to benefit from it, this one's titled Participation. So it's some kind of animal with wings with a rabbit writing it, but that's not. It says, rather than taking a passive backseat to what's going on around me, I seize the reins of initiative and participate. With my effort and influence, problems are fixed more quickly than normal, and my complaints magically turn into proactive solutions. So I think participate, you will meet people to help you problem solve, and just be there as a teammate and a resource. And the best way to get there is just to roll up your sleeves and dive right in.
Well, that is well said. And I think that's a great way to end this episode. Jessica, I want to thank you so much for sharing all your experience. And I learned so much today, and to see your enthusiasm, see how it's all taking shape. I think everybody who's going to IBTTA is going to absolutely love it. And I just also want to say to all of our listeners, please make sure you tune in and for other great episodes like this one, and make sure you share and promote it. But most importantly, if you have not registered for IBTTA, please make sure you do so. Colorado is right around the corner. There's still time to go out there. We encourage you to go to ibtta.org and go to /events. And then in there, you will find the 93rd annual meeting information, which will give you everything that you need to get registered and join us out in Colorado. So thank you very much for joining, and as well and continuing to watch and visit tolltalkpodcast.com for future episodes. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening.
Bye-bye.